So when should you use slides when giving a presentation?
Speaking, the show about effective speaking in public, to the media, at work, and in life. Speaking with TJ Walker.
So when should you use slides? What's the decision process that you should use when trying to decide whether to use a slide or not in your PowerPoint or your keynote presentation? Let me start off with the affirmative and tell you exactly the positive reason to do it. You should use a slide if and when you've come up with a visual, an image that is not text-based, that will make your idea more memorable and more understandable than you simply saying it. That's right, people need to understand your idea better than if you just said it out loud, and they need to remember your idea better than if you just said it out loud. If you can say yes to both of those things, then use a slide. If you can't say yes to both of those things, don't use the slides. I fundamentally believe that's all you really need to think about when just trying to decide whether to use slides or not. Unfortunately, people put in all sorts of other questions, issues, and thought processes into this before deciding whether to use slides. More on some of those issues in a moment.
Do you have a speaking-related question for #1 USA Today best-selling author TJ Walker? For more than 30 years, Walker has been a public speaking coach and media trainer to presidents of countries, prime ministers, CEOs, Nobel Peace Prize winners, professional athletes, and Miss Universes. Send your questions to info@mediatrainingworldwide.com or on Twitter @TJ Walker.
Unfortunately, there are a lot of horrible reasons to either use slides or not use slides. One thing I hear from my clients all the time is, "Oh, TJ, I don't need slides. I've got it." Well, guess what? The slides aren't for you. You should never, ever, ever use PowerPoint slides for yourself as a speaker to figure out what to say or where to go next. Your slides are entirely for your audience. They are not for you. If you need notes, then use a good old-fashioned piece of paper, preferably with large font, doubled over. That's for you. Or if you want to use a screen, I don't recommend that. Some people do at TED and other conferences. Teleprompters, that's not for people who are lazy and want to save time. It actually takes more time to use a teleprompter. But what happens, unfortunately, is a lot of people use their PowerPoint slides as the poor man's, the poor woman's teleprompter. Horrible idea. So you don't want to avoid using slides because you don't need it, because they're not for you. You also don't want to use slides because you need it and you need something to keep you on track. Horrible, horrible reason. Let's look at other reasons people use PowerPoint slides. Well, it was created and the staff created it and we've spent $82,000 in billable time on graphic arts, so I have to use it. Well, guess what? No, you don't. You don't have to use something because of sunk cost. The only thing that you should be thinking about when you're using slides is, will this literally help my audience? Will it help them understand the idea more, and will it help them remember the idea? That should be your guiding thought process. So it's not a way of segmenting your presentation. It's not a way of building your brand identity with your logo. I've never yet met an audience member saying, "Oh, I really enjoyed that speech, and I definitely have a much better sense of IBM now because I saw the IBM logo, and I'm just picking on them arbitrarily." So no, it's not an opportunity for you to build your brand with your logo. The number one way to build your brand when giving a presentation is to actually give a great presentation that's useful and memorable, by the way. So that's not why you want to use slides. Some people want to put a question mark at the end. So, any questions? Well, putting a question mark up on a slide is a stupid waste of time. It doesn't make it more obvious to people that you're going to take questions now because you've just told them, I'll take your questions now. So it serves no purpose. It's a complete, utter waste of time. Now let me give you an example. And since this is most of the audience is on the audio podcast side of things, I'm not going to put up an image now. I'm simply going to tell you about it. But when I'm giving one of my presentations on how to give a successful presentation, one of my 5 key points, and I am a big believer that you can only have 5 key points, is that you should practice your presentation on video until you're happy with how it looks. And you don't need a big fancy studio. And you don't need to hire me and fly me in from the other side of the world and spend tens of thousands of dollars. Although that can be a nice thing for all of us. All you really need to do is, you could be in your bedroom or a hotel room, sitting on a chair or a bed, holding your own cell phone, talking to it, practicing it. It's simple, requires 0 extra budget, really doesn't require that much time. So I use a PowerPoint slide to reinforce that. The slide is not my brand image logo. It's not slick graphics. The color isn't particularly impressive. I don't have bullet points of, remember, key point, practice on video. No, it's simply a picture of me, not looking very flattering, sort of dressed like a slob, at home, holding my cell phone, talking to my cell phone. Is it going to win awards in PowerPoint slide graphics competitions? No. But when I ask people, what do they remember after I've given a presentation, they typically tell me, I really remembered, I've got to practice on video. And if I say, what slides do you remember? And they'll actually say, yeah, there's that sort of goofy, funny slide where you're looking awkward and you're holding a cell phone and you're obviously recording it on video. So is that a good slide? Not in terms of graphics, not in terms of anything that's going to win awards at PowerPoint graphics competitions. But does it make people understand my message more of it's important to practice on video? Yes. Does it make them remember my message of it's important to practice your speech more by practicing on video? Yes. That's why it works. That's why, in my opinion, it's a fantastic slide because it accomplishes those 2 goals. And I gave thought to it. It wasn't just a transition. It wasn't just a minor point like trying not to say too many ums and ahs, which, by the way, I think is a very minor point unless you're saying thousands of them. It was really thought about. I focused on it. This is one of the top 5 ideas I have to have people remember. Another one that's really important that I stress again and again and again is the importance of narrowing your message down to your top 5 points. Don't be greedy. Not 5 per slide. It's not 50 or 100 in the whole presentation. It's not tell people everything you know. It's literally narrow down things to your top 5 ideas. So what do I do to drive that home visually when I'm using a PowerPoint slide? I actually just have a picture of my own hand. Not great photography, not the best lighting, but I set it up with how many ideas should you try to convey in your next presentation? And I put up the slide of the 5. Again, it's not going to win any awards at graphic arts competitions, but people understand the idea and it just drives it home even further. Now, another reason, and I'm ashamed to say I'm guilty of this next bad excuse. One of the excuses people use for not using slides is they're lazy. It's like, I don't really want to bother coming up with images. That's a horrible excuse. I will confess that I've been guilty of that in the past. I've rationalized it of, Well, I want to show people how good a speaker I am on my own and not use gimmicks and technology. You know what? I was rationalizing it. I do have, in fact, images that help people understand messages more, and I use them. Doesn't mean I'm not willing to give a speech without it, but if it's something I can plan, something I can use, I should do it, and so should you. So that's my advice to you. Really give thought to how do you help your audience the most. Great speakers are focused on what's helpful and useful and memorable and easy for the audience, not what's easy for them as the speaker. Do that, and you will make a wise decision regarding slides every time. I'm TJ Walker. Thanks for joining me. As always, may all of your presentations in life be a huge success. Hope to see you tomorrow.
Speaking with TJ Walker is the #1 rated daily streaming TV and radio show devoted to all aspects of speaking and communication. If you received value from this show, then please subscribe to it at MediaTrainingWorldwide.com. Please review the show, leave comments, and share it with your friends and colleagues today.